Leo, I believe we have right now simply enough time to go through to all of the questions which may be raised, and we will see how this will then be ended. So for this reason, I think you have checked the online, let's say in the chat, the questions, if there are any. So please.
Yes, thank you very much, Werner. First, I would like to remind everyone that please feel free to add more questions to the chat or raise your hand if you have new ones. For now, I'll start by the ones that I have recorded so far. First, going back actually to the first part, we had just at the time of the break a couple, another question, no, two other questions. One from Bruno Chiamuleser on the high accuracy system. He asked, is there any application of the high accuracy system in ionosphere monitoring? Again, probably questions for Dr. Fernandez. Which we might.
I'm not sure, Leo, if Ignacio is connected. This is David speaking. I'm checking because this one yeah, I need to check about that. I'm checking in real time to give an answer to Mr.
I think Nacho has left what I can see. So therefore we can take this question offline and
okay.
Let's go to the next one, please.
I will try to respond before we finish anyway, but yeah, otherwise we can take it offline.
Okay. No, David, this is nice. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. For the next one, maybe Leo, I take the next one because also has.
Yes, from Rolf.
Yeah, exactly. From
to extend the high accuracy system to GPS.
Yeah, this I can confirm. So in the G2 satellites, it is foreseen that HARS is also transmitted in E5. It will not be the E5A because the signals are different, but in E5, E5 will disseminate HARS corrections as well.
Very nice. Okay. Then I have a couple questions for Dr. Gonzalez. The first one is also from Rolf. It's actually another question. Rolf wanted to thank Galileo for making the metadata available on behalf of the IGS. Wanted to thank them on behalf of the IGS and the scientific community. It is very helpful in the context of POD and TRF realization. So just warm thanks. Another question is from Pedro Pintor, asking, will the Navant antenna gain patterns ever be part of the metadata? He adds that this is important for POD in the space volume.
Thanks for the question. Indeed, this is the only set of information that was originally requested by the IGS that is not yet made public. Then, to answer the question, the shortly it is yes, this will be made public, but when it is not yet known, because the service volume depends where you want to stop, and the calibration of the antennas are mainly focused on the field of view of the air, a little bit covering further of it, and beyond that, we have very few points to derive the ERP pattern. Then that is, we have a couple of methodologies that to provide a full pattern that can be used, and that is still under the final discussion step. Then the information has been made, collected, has been prepared for release. It is in the final steps of being consolidated for publication.
Okay.
If I may, I would like to add something related to the antenna pattern of Galileo. Please be aware that what was the question is the measured, because what Francisco was just mentioning as well, it could be that this is at the moment subject to the discussion on the European Commission level, that either it is the measurement on the ground measurement, or it could be a model which is close. this is at the moment subject to the discussion, and if this is decided, then Francesco was already mentioned that the intention is that it will be released. Only the date is at the moment not confirmed. Francesco, anything to add on that?
No. Thanks for complimenting the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. There is quite a long question by Frank Lemoine. Frank, do you want me to relay it, or do you want to ask it live? You are muted at the moment.
Sorry. So the first question is, what is the accuracy and the knowledge in the center of mass of the spacecraft, the Galileo? Is it plus or minus 1 millimeter, plus or minus 3 millimeters?
That is a difficult question. That's the values that we have to commit. They are larger than that, but the measurements are in the millimeter range. Then we are in the millimeter. You have seen the picture that the satellite is put on the bench.
Yes.
That configuration, it is achieved with 0.5 millimeter accuracy. Then, having said that, to derive the flight configuration, you need to add further information as the deployment of the panels, and you have the uncertainty of the exact propellant you are using. Then let's say that from the 1 millimeter you are achieving on the bench, there will be a small degradation, but we are in the few millimeter range.
Okay, thank you. So the second question I had is, what is the accuracy in the knowledge or of the orientation of the solar arrays? How much does it deviate from the algorithm that's on the website? Is it?
Yeah, that has to be better than 2 degrees, and we have validated that with the attitude of with the information of the attitude sensor of the satellite is well below these 2 degrees. That we have 2 degrees of freedom. One, it is the rotation of the solar arrays.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one you are asking.
Yes.
That is better than 2 degrees. And you have also the orientation of the body frame. How can be the satellite pointing that is also affecting the solar arrays. That is below 0.5 degrees. Below that, the values are achieved with better accuracy.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Very well. There was a question that was answered in chat, but I would like to relay it just for information. Maybe also it was for Eric Scheneman, and maybe you can add to the response Zuhair Altamimi provided. Christian Rost asked if there's a document describing all the parameters of the GTRF solution, as there is one for WGS 84. Dr. Ross was asking about eccentricity or flattening parameters, and Zuhair reminded that the GTRF is in fact determined by 3D station coordinates. But I figure, would there be, could you derive those parameters and make them public as well?
Excuse me, I didn't get the last one of your question.
About the parameters, eccentricity, flattening, derived after GTRF.
Yes, we are not providing these parameters to public because, as Suya already answered, so the realization of the GTRF is, or the GTRF is materialized by coordinates. So for sure, the parameters could be determined, but it's not how it's materialized.
Mm-hmm. Very well. And I had a question on your slide 4, and actually 5 as well. The errors that you plotted seem quantized in to some amount. Did I misread this? Did I misread this this graph, sorry, or were they indeed quantized?
You mean because of these small fragmentation points.
Yes.
Yes. So these are the actual values. I can display it again, but we put this. Let me check if I can display it. Share. Okay. So
You see it now.
You can see it now, right?
Yes.
So the points, the dots are the actual values. So this is the other one is a mean graph through the actual values.
Okay, but was there any reason why they would be on those specific, almost it looks like quantized lines? For example, it seems that they would stick anyway. That might not be important and it also comes from a non-expert, but yeah, that is okay. That is not critical. I see that Zuhair had raised his hand.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, one second.
We might have some echo though. And now we cannot hear you anymore.
Yeah, we are in a room here, a meeting room where we are attending the URF symposium. Just to add to what Eric said, we cannot determine A and F or whatever parameters because the GTRF is basically determined or materialized, as I wrote, by 3D station coordinate as a function of time. It's only when the user wants to have geographical or ellipsoidal coordinate, then he select an ellipsoid and transform the 3D XYZ coordinate to longitude, latitude, and altitude. Okay?
That's a very clear description. Thank you. Again, I encourage everyone to add questions or feedback to the chat or raise their hand. I will take this opportunity to first of all thank the speakers, but also advertise that we will release the recording of this meeting as well as the presentations to the public shortly after this meeting and as soon as possible. Please be on the watch out for an IGS mail on this topic. Yes, Werner.
Yeah, I have a question actually to Giovanni, and this was related to the report he provided for POD users. Giovanni, can you probably elaborate why space was not appearing in any of your, let's say, 3 categories of users? There was professional, there was something which was called safety, and I think the third one was mass market. But I couldn't see, I don't know, it was the 5th or 6th slide, I'm not 100% sure, but this was this cut, and I couldn't see space at all in there.
Well, just to be clear, don't be worried about it because space is there. Space is also in the market report. And thanks for pointing this out, meaning that as usual, you're paying a lot of attention to all the details. But no, there were also other market segments not reported because sometimes, let's say, it's a matter of preparing quickly some slides. So some pieces and details are not properly addressed, but it's there. So as well, space will be taken also in the next market report, in the technical report as well. And we are going to have user consultation platform in November this year. I take the opportunity to declare that in Sevilla. So in case there are some users listening to us right now, please prepare yourself possibly to attend physically and or attending at least virtually. In case you would like to have more information about that or to receive more information about that, please let me know and I will be supporting you.
You nicely used the time for advertisement. Well done. And thanks for answering the question. Leo, do you see any further questions in the chat? Or
I put Leo Garner
yeah.
in the chat link to regarding the question that was not answered
Yes.
before about the IONO monitoring. So I understand this is a service where USPA and the European Commission are working on. I put the link there for more information. So it's not really part of the Galileo portfolio, but there is some work ongoing. So maybe Bruno can dig some information there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Excellent, David. Thank you very much. Yeah.
And to answer your question, Werner, I do not see more questions in the chat or any raised hands among the participants.
Then probably let's take the opportunity, if there are no further questions, comments, or anything else, then to wrap it up. And I would like really thank all the speakers for their excellent presentations. I also would thank, let's say, the IGS governing board and all the organizers. And also on our side, especially Eric and Francesco, they organized, they had the major workload. But let me, because all of you, they are involved in IGS activities, I would like to acknowledge a couple of people you don't see that very often anymore. And this is, if I'm looking at Tim Springer, Nacho Romero, Lucas Akrotis, or Florian Dülzner, especially the first three named, they are not, let's say, leading as working group chairs the groups anymore. And this has to do with some ESA policies. But I would like to take the opportunity to really thank them for their outstanding work over all these years and the dedication to that. And so they really helped a lot. And so in the new functions, there will be ESA staff. Again, this is driven by ESA policy and has nothing to do with anything else. So I simply would like to acknowledge that publicly. And again, that brings me to the end. Thank you very much. And here, Leo, if you have to say anything further, please.
I think you very well wrapped up this workshop. I would like also to thank, along with the rest of the Central Bureau, our European colleagues and this local organizing committee, Werner, Francisco, as well as Eric, for preparing this very exciting stuff that we most definitely needed. A spotlight on the Galileo constellation is definitely on the forefront of our work at the IGS. Again, thanks to all the speakers as well, and thanks to all the attendees. Again, all the recordings will be made available, and so will be forwardable to your colleagues who could not attend today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye.